The CDL is back this weekend. Let's go through some predictions. We have, starting off, Minnesota versus Carolina Royal Ravens. Both teams coming off, I can't remember Ravens. Did they win or lose? I think they won. I can't remember. But Minnesota, very impressive against Optic. Nero and Estrio looking really good. Paul Exide shooting again. I'm afraid. I think they're looking really good. I'm afraid for Carolina fans, but I'm gonna go with Minnesota for this one. I'm gonna say they're gonna win. I'm gonna say 3-1. I actually think they look very, very good against Optic. I know Optic aren't playing too well, but I still think this team look really good. Miami versus LAG. I think LAG are gonna win this one because they have picked up a new player. I think it's going to get mixy to an extent. I think it'll be 3-1. I forgot who they picked up. I forgot his name. Bro, I'm tired right now. I'm sorry. I've been recording all day. My mate, bro, my mind's actually got blank. Lunas, wherever his name is, but seems like a decent player. Again, my mind's gone blank right now. But yeah, I think it's gonna be one of those honeymoon changes. He's gonna come in, he's gonna fry, he's gonna get a fair amount of kills, they're gonna have more slaying. And the overall team, I think what happens when like a roster change takes place is like the vibe just kind of get better. We saw it in Seattle, right? We saw it in Seattle. Someone from Challenger comes in, he really like earned his place. Let's go, let's fry. They beat FaZe, they get momentum. I think it's gonna be the same thing here. Miami's gonna be a fairly reasonable match for them for the first game, and I think they'll be good to go. Then we have Carolina versus Vegas, and Vegas again, I'm sorry to say, but they're just not going to win this one, in my opinion. And I think I think New York are going to win that one. I think it's going to be a 3-0 matchup, maybe a 3-1, but I'm going to go 3-0. Then we move over to the Saturday. We got a few more interesting matchups here, starting off with Atlanta FaZe versus Miami. I think FaZe are just going to dominate. They actually started turning their form around against Miami in the minor. If you guys remember, that's where Simp got the one before, and I think it's going to be no different. I think it's going to be a 3. I think it's going to be an 0 for this one. Then we have a very, very interesting matchup. Optic Texas versus Carolina. Will Optic be able to bounce back? I don't know, but as an Optic fan, I'm hoping they will. So I'm going to give us a 3-2 win. I think it's going to be an absolute battle, and I think we're going to take over Ravens, and Tej is going to lose, and I think Optic are going to get their revenge because Carolina did beat them at the major. Then we have LAG versus Vancouver, the battle of the new signings. Who's going to win? I think Vancouver have looked very good right now, and I'm going to have to back them. The way they've been playing, they look very well. I think they're going to win 3-1. I think LAG might steal a map, but I see this being a 3-0 or a 3-1. I think it'll be a 3-1. I think 3-1's fair. Boston, Toronto. Okay. It's actually an interesting one. I definitely favor Toronto here. Boston's a weird one because when I look at Boston, I'm looking at a team that at the start like really impressed, and they kind of went on a downward spiral. So I'm just looking at that and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think they need to make a roster change just yet, but I think they need to step it up a little bit. They were playing well. They had a little bit of like pressure off them. Then they had a poor major, and then they kind of just, you know, now they really need to start like stepping up a little bit because they're closing in, and like, I don't know, man. I think they just got to start doing better again because I think the pressure was off them, and it was like the first time in a while where this Boston team didn't have pressure. If you guys remember last year, they were literally 12th team in the league. Like they were bottom of the bottom, and or like 11th or something. There was a lot of pressure on them. Then I think at the start of the season, they came in, they were shooting well. People actually started complimenting them. And I think they went under the radar and they started to slightly decline again. Then they were ahead at the start. So I want to see a bit more from them. And I want to see them win this one. But I think Toronto are going to take over. I like Toronto though, but I think Toronto are going to win that 3-1. Then we go over to Sunday, Minnesota versus Vegas. I'm very confident this one's going to be a 3-0. Based on what we said earlier, I think Vegas have one of the worst teamworks we've seen, and Minnesota have one of the best. I think it's simply going to just be a team comp difference. I think Minnesota are going to win it, and I feel really bad for Vegas, but I think it's going to be another weekend without a win. I reckon this... Actually, I'm going to change this. Instead of 3-0, I'm going to say this will be a 3-1. I think they take a map of New York. I think it'll be a 3-0 against Minnesota, though. Then we go over to, I would say, the match of the weekend. Toronto Ultra versus LA Thieves. This is going to be an absolute battle. The thing about Toronto right now is, like, Toronto look like the team that can bully everyone besides the top 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Toronto are a team that can bully everyone, but then when it gets to the top 3, I'm going to keep Optic as a top 3 team. I know right now they're not, but let's just talk about the top 3 going into the year. Optic, FaZe, and LA Thieves. Like, I think Toronto are a team that could bully the rest. I just always think I just always back the other team against them, like the top three. Like I always feel like they just come up a little bit short. And this was kind of the start of the season prediction as well, where it's like Toronto will get good, they'll get the fourth, but like I just don't see them beating the top three super teams. So I think it's gonna be the same thing, unless we get like a mega series from like Joe or Kleenex or something like that. But I think LA Thieves are gonna win this one 3. But LA Thieves with S&D has been a little bit vulnerable, so I think Toronto is gonna win that. And yeah, I think it's gonna be 3-1 for the boys in red. Boston, New York to close out the series, to close out the weekend. I actually have no idea for this one. I really don't. Boston's S&D was really impressive at the start. It really was. It was so good to watch. I think this is going to be a mixy series, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be a flip of a coin. I think this one's going to go down to the wire. I can see this one just being really, really mixy. And I'm going to give it to Boston 3-2. But I'm not confident. But yeah, I think overall it's going to be, honestly, I'm kind of sick of these online qualifiers, man. Like, for me, there's just no dope. There's no dope in them. Like, I don't know, man. I wish they could just do the minor tournaments and add more LAN events, bro. But I'm going to have a whole video on that, like, my thoughts on that, because I'm just like, come on, man. Like, what are we watching? Like, these online, no one cares about these online qualifiers, man. I'll be honest. Like, no one cares about them. It's just it's fun to watch Call of Duty, obviously, on the weekend. I still like watching the flank. I still enjoy it, but I would prefer if they had like more majors and just less of this, man. Or even if these were on LAN. If these were on LAN and it was like online qualifiers on LAN, I wouldn't mind that. I don't know, something different. But hey, we can't complain. Let's just let's just see how this one goes. But let me know down below, do you guys agree with my predictions? I would love to know your predictions. Give me your Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Or do you guys think there'll be a shock? Do you guys think Vegas win a series? Anything, give me your thoughts, give me anything down below, and I'll catch you guys for another video tomorrow. Peace.